Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Meta Monday, brought to you live on Epic Flail. If you're joining us live, we appreciate you very much, because Liam and I will be chatting to you live throughout the show and hearing what you think around our subject of today, which is about 40k burnout, something me and Liam have experienced.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, baby.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, baby.
Oh yeah, we've experienced it a bit, and we think it's quite an interesting discussion because there are some bad side effects to getting burnt out on Warhammer 40,000. So we're going to be chatting about that today. We're also going to look at the meta. We're looking at the meta so we can retain our status as the Meta Monday podcast. We are not giving up on looking at the meta. We're going to do so near the back end of the show. In 1 hour's time, we're doing an After Dark with Liam and I, where we're going to be looking at some Harambe dedication content. We've got some
video came up the other day, and I was just like, right, I'm sending it to you straight away.
We're in on the Harambe content. We've got some Reddit questions that we're going to go through, some rather bizarre things that we found on Reddit, and we've got some maybe even bizarre members questions which have come in, which we will be going through. Consider being a member. The link to do so is in the description below.
Man, you love this intro music.
I do love the intro, yeah.
I could just imagine you laying in bed at night just being like,
dude, it's how I start the day.
Screw it, just literally like laying like a mummy with that, like, and just a little head knob. And G3PO charging in the corner being like, not again, not again.
That's how I start the day. Just put my headphones in. Dum, 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 dum. Oh, I forgot to put in the chat that we started the show, and I see the excellent Brandon is in the chat. Brandon, can you just do a... Oh, no, Brandon doesn't have admin rights. Doesn't matter, actually, Brandon.
Brandon's been banned from admin rights.
Brandon has tried several uprisings on the server.
He is the most chance of some sort of like mutiny, isn't he? And it just come in and me and you'll be tied up in a corner one day and Brandon's doing Meta Monday.
Yeah, big time.
Just literally, just like, well, how has Brandon even managed this? Just absolutely pickled in a corner as well, isn't he?
Big time. Yeah, I saw him pickling himself at Hove Station the other day. I drove past and I was like, have I just seen you drink this? And he's like, yeah, good lad.
Just wandering.
Living his best life, having a good time.
Stumbling around Hove Station.
Yeah, in style. Burnout, mate. It's not ideal, is it, getting 40k burnout? We'll be hearing from the chat as well as to your burnout stories. But
it's just like, and I think it's one of these things, isn't it, that this hobby is all-encompassing, isn't it? Like, we've spoken about this before on and off doing this, and it's like, it's everything, isn't it? Like, we do this on a Monday. I spent all day yesterday at Dice Saloon doing Fun Hammer. I've then spent 3 evenings last week painting. And like we were saying before, you get on, we could, if you wanted to, spend pretty much all your free time just doing this hobby. If you wanted to. And that's the problem. You can quite easily do that without it being too much of an issue.
Yeah. We have the minds as well, I think. A lot of people that play this game, and definitely me and you, have minds that like want to throw ourselves into it and go quite deep. It's difficult to not do things in halves, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not like, yeah, I'll play that game a little bit. You're like, yeah, I'm really, really going to play that game. So I think it's a really relevant subject because I see similarities in me and you of how things that we play. But I also see it in people at the club and like just generally in the hobby.
Yeah.
And you see people, the reason I think it's important is you see people like go on these cycles of like getting really into it and then kind of like coming out the other end of it and hating the game a bit.
You see, like,
I'm feeling really burnt out.
I'm like literally a prime example for that because I'll be at the club every week for like 3 months in a row, and then I'll just disappear. And then I'll just disappear for like a month, and they'll be like, "Why are you not there?" It's like, I can't even face a 40k table at the moment.
You're on a disappearing phase at the moment. I've not seen you at the club.
I've got no league games to play.
Oh,
I've played all my league games, so like. I thought, I've signed up for the next league. I was like, I'm going to take a break from going down the club just until the next league starts. Let everyone get their league games out of the way and then get back into it.
And then get back in. So you've not, it's more of a convenience thing because the league was a priority. Just having a little break. Yeah, the league's
done. And then I thought I'd have a break from that. Because I've got, and this is the thing, is me and you are both quite lucky that we've got our own setups in our house as well, haven't we?
Yeah. Like
we've both got a setup. So if I want to play a game on a Tuesday night without the faff of having to go down the club, park, you know, get all the terrain out, do all of this, do all of that, I can just play at my house.
Yeah, no, it's a nice little thing. Let's welcome some folks that are joining us live in the chat. I just realised I've not got top chat on. There we go, got live chat on. Welcome, friends. There are a few ways in which this happens, and we were kind of chatting about it before. Yeah. Like, how do you end up burnt out at Warhammer, playing Warhammer? And it kind of sneaks up on you as well. Like, you don't always realise you're burnt out.
Oh, it hits you.
Like, you kind of like,
you're like, I'm
getting
doing all right,
grumpy.
I'm doing all right.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm not all right.
Yeah.
I don't want to play anymore.
I'm worried.
Yeah.
One factor I think is, I'm not going to say the word that's written down on here, but, and I've experienced it at the moment, is playing armies that don't suit your play style or the experience that you want. So like bad armies. Because sometimes when people are like, oh, I'm burnt out, you assume it's, oh, you've been playing too much. You've been playing. You must have been playing all the time. You must have been endlessly playing. For me, it's not always that. It's the experience that I have when I play. Yeah. And me not being able to align the experience that I want with the army or faction that I'm playing. Knights, and I've mentioned this about 50,000 times on the podcast. But Night Lives Matter. But Knight's been a good example.
I think the thing is as well, and like this is what we were saying before, is 40k is one of these games where certain armies have model ranges that are, you know, what was it? What was the joke going around with that Space Marine? Remember the Space Marine index cards when they were released? And it was about, it looked like a brick, didn't it? And then like the Knights one were released, and it was like, what, 5 cards in there?
Yeah, I've got both behind.
Yeah, and you're just like, screen. And so if you're playing an army like a Space Marines, I'd say Sisters, Orcs, Chaos Space Marines, something with like a massive range, you can almost swerve into a different play style or a different list to try and reduce that burnout. If you're playing Knights, or I don't know what else there is at the moment that's got a ridiculously small... I'd even throw like World Eaters into that. Yeah, because what's the World Eaters range really?
Yeah, it's basically those models I have in there.
Yeah, like there's a couple of ranges that are so small and like quite restricting that you're like, well, yeah, I'm enjoying playing them, even if I'm enjoying the play style, but I've got like 2 lists I can run, and that's about it. And now I've got to go and buy another army to experience something else. Yeah, and you just get a bit like, with it, don't you? Sometimes, like,
yeah, big time, because it's like it's a big investment. You're going up and you're sitting next to a man or a woman opposite your table for like 3+ hours. It's not like, oh, do you want to just have a quick game, like game pool? Yeah. You know, smash the hours annoying, I'll go do something else. Yeah. 40k is it's an investment of your time.
And that's why, like, you were like, oh, sometimes with the club, I'm like, but it's not just the game time. It's the driving to it, parking up, walking down, getting everything set up.
Oh, yeah.
Packing it away at the end, walking back, driving back. Like, I'm lucky. I live, like, probably one of the closest to I live in Hove, so for me, it's not too bad.
It's a right trek for me, lad.
Yeah, you're Worthing, so you're another half an hour past. So some of the boys come down from, like, Horsham and stuff like that. Like, it's just, like, a massive time investment. And if you're not playing and getting out of the game what you want to get out of it, and, you know, we've discussed that you play this for various different reasons, you can get to the point where you get frustrated and you're like, actually, why am I bothering? Yeah. And that's almost like that's the burnout side of it, isn't it? It's like, I want to do something different, but what do I want to do? That's what I get to, is like, I want to do something different, but what do I want to do?
Well, I've sort of, I agree completely. And you have to realise it's going on for you to be able to sort of do something about it. But I've kind of just realised the first argument we've made is like, I can just hear that Games Workshop manager just being like, this is the perfect thing for him.
Mate, he'd love it.
It's like, just buy another army.
Just come in here.
Just come in.
Come in. You'll get 2 collectible coins.
Yeah. What you need is a collectible coin.
The collectible coin will definitely cure your burnout.
Get out.
Just see, like, toss him through the window like that.
Because in a way, like, really flexible armies aren't really in Games Workshop's business plan so much, because they want you to buy the model.
Well, and this is like the really cynical view of looking at how the codexes are set up now. So look at, like, I'll just take the Orc codex for an example, because that's the one I've got. So you've got Green Tide list, which is Orc boys and some transports. You've then got the Big Hunt, which is, I've got to be really careful how I say that. Which is all the squigs, isn't it? So the squig riders, the Beast Boys. That one. Then you've got the Bully Boys, which is your knobs and your mega knobs. Then you've got the Speed Freaks, which is your buggies and your helicopters and all of that. Well, one codex has 5 different armies that all need different models to play it as well. So that's why GW love it, because you still got to go in and buy all those different models, haven't you?
Yeah.
So the armies they probably don't want you playing are your knights and stuff like that. Because once you bought your knights, haven't you?
Yeah, you're kind of locked in.
You're locked into knights at that point.
Rob says, and hey to everybody chat. Tom, I'm really aware that Tom texted me and I didn't reply, Tom, so I'm going to reply. I've been absolutely slum mode. Rob says, I was pretty burnt out on Sisters. This is why I have Drakari Army somehow, but the new codex. Can we not talk about the Sisters codex? The amount of rubbish I've seen in groups today about this Sisters codex. Are we all going to get burnt out? We're just going to get bored of playing Sisters, I think. We're just going to be like, because it's going to be everywhere. No, thank you. I'm okay for playing Sisters right now. And then all the Sisters, the best thing is, and Adam's literally going to message me straight after this, be like, the best thing, all the Sisters play, like, it's not even that bad. No, they'll definitely be sick. Yeah, sure. It's like, what? Like, it wasn't oppressive beforehand, sure. And now you've got better. Do one. Yeah, Rob, we'll see. We'll see what it's like. So the first how is, I think, bad armies. Playing armies that don't suit your play style or create an experience that you want is definitely a quick way to burn yourself out of this game. That's like a surefire way to get upset with yourself. The other one that we've kind of touched on in other shows, which I think is really interesting, is that what do you want to get out of the game? Like, why do you play the game? Yeah. Do you play the game to literally just throw dice with your mates, the whole beer and pretzels thing, just have a laugh, mess around? Or do you play the game because you want to be competitive? Or maybe somewhere in between. Maybe it's like a bit of both. And if your experience is lining up with that, I think you can get burnt out pretty easily. Oh yeah, massively. So I did. I think you were laughing at me at some point last year, weren't you? Or might have been beginning. I've never laughed at you in all this time we've known each other. So don't say things like. I think I played 11 games in 5 days or something ridiculous like that. Yeah. And I just remember, you're a man that can go all in. I committed that week. I really did. Just a bit. And then I remember coming out the other side and being like, I genuinely don't want to look at a Warhammer model for at least 2 weeks. And it is that, isn't it? You throw yourself into it so much sometimes. And like you're saying, you come out the other side and you're like, what, why? Yeah. How have I got myself to this point? But why do you do that? Why do you throw yourself into the game that much? It's like you're saying, what do we want to get out of it? So did I want to play competitively at that point? Did I want to just have fun with my mates? Did I want to just do it casual? What? And that's where you get to the point where you're like, I don't actually know what I want from this game. So all I'm actually doing is just committing all of my time to do something, and I don't actually know what the end result I want to achieve is. Yeah, that's a. Because let's be fair, I'm not Manny Chima, am I? I'm not mate. You could be Manny Chima. I can't be Manny Chima. There's obvious reasons why, but I can't get to. I'm not going to explore. I'm not going to explore that one. Might be actually an insult. One of Liam's controversial opinions. But yeah, it's like you're saying, it's what do you want to get out of it? And then you look back and you go, I've just committed, say each game was 3 hours. I've just committed 33 hours. In 5 days, I've committed over a day to playing. When you say it that way, it makes me want to go and jump out a window. You saying that then, just me hearing it, I thought, oh, God, that doesn't sound good. Over a day. That doesn't sound... In 5 days. That doesn't sound ideal. That's not great. And then you get to the point of going, well, what did I want to achieve? And I probably haven't achieved what I wanted because I didn't go in with a clear set of ideas of what I wanted, and now I'm just actually, I'll put it all on the shelf for a bit. I can't be looking at it. I can't be bothered with getting back into it. Have you found that to be your sort of cycling experience then? I'm very... You go all in. I go all in. You go big. For 2 or 3, maybe a month, and then I'm like, right, I need a couple of weeks off. Then I'll start ramping back up again. Then I'll get to the point of being like, right, no, yeah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Because it was when we were doing a show on a Monday here,
I'd play at the club on Tuesday. We'd do a stream here on a Thursday. I'd then go to an event at the weekend, I'd play on the Friday or something as well. Then go to an event at the weekend and be like, my whole week has just revolved around this, and I didn't even know why. Like, what was I trying to achieve from it? Because like, one game you're playing chill with your mate at your house. Yeah. The other game we're playing on stream, so that's a different vibe when you're playing on stream, isn't it? It's like a... And I know
it's
that's
really
quite
intense
hard
playing on stream. Playing on the stream a lot is a quick way to burn out of playing footy. I'll say that now. Like,
well, no, and that's what it's like.
Intense.
For people that haven't played on stream, it's a completely different experience.
Intense. Yeah, it's really, really intense.
And then the weirdest one is playing on stream at an event.
Yeah, well, that's a different...
That's just a whole different ball game as well. And then going to an event and being like, right, this is competitive, right, competitive head on. Oh, I've lost one. Right, now I'm getting pissy because I've just spent half my week practicing and now now I've lost a game. And you're like,
that's the thing I was chatting about on the members show the other day, about making sure that you don't create these like goals or ideas about 40k that then... what are you chuckling?
Kelly's comment. Don't read it out. I'm just saying. Sorry, if I'm looking down, it's because my phone's here, because I've got the comments going, and I've literally just focused on one comment and was like, what the hell is that?
People can see the chats and answer. Feel free to answer Telly's question.
But we in no way endorse what is going on in the chat at this moment in time.
I'd love to know from the chat like how you've got burnt out. Like, what are the things that you've done that have led you to be burnt out? I've found that the ones we've gone through so far are like bad armies, playing the wrong type of game. So just having games with people that not maybe playing the game for the same reason as you. Or and Telly will back me up on this. Me and Telly have gone through phases where we played this game together in the past, and like the games weren't fun because one army was like smashing the other because it was just like not very balanced. So you could be playing for the same reasons, but for some reason your opponent is not matched.
And I know we'll get onto cures for burnout soon, but I think that's one of the cures is like having a group that has like a diverse army. So you can go like, I can like phone you up or Stu up or Matt up or Ad and be like, lads, I want to try this new orc army out, but can you not bring something that's just going to kill me in like 2 turns? And then as long as your person you're playing has got a wide army variety, they can bring something and you can, you both know why you're there. Yeah. There's nothing worse than turning up to a game, getting absolutely pumped and then being like, well... And then like the next week going, well, that's the only person I've got to play in this community. So let's just do that again.
Imagine how many the other day I was chatting to Luke today on the phone. We were talking about like the statistics of people that play Warhammer, like how many people play Warhammer. Yeah. There's like 2.4 million Warhammer players in the world, apparently 40k players, right? Apparently. Imagine, and of that group, there's like 0 point something that play competitively. Very, 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 very small number of that group are tournament competitive players. Overwhelming majority, just randos. Yeah. Right?
Randos?
Just randos, sorry.
Just a geezer in the street with some models.
Yeah.
Anyone want to play Warhammer? Warhammer?
But just think of all these unique characters. There'll be some people, right, that are just locked into playing miserable games every week. And because they like live in the middle of nowhere... Or, do you know what I mean? It's the dad. They're just smashing them every week.
Well, I think Adam sent me someone the other day who sent him his tabletop. Do you know we use that tabletop app? And I think
tabletop battles.
Yeah, and I think he had like 37 games, 37 wins. And you're like, well, that's great. But who are you playing? And are they enjoying this experience? Because if you're playing like the same 3 or 4 people and that's your statistics, I can tell you for a fact, mate, those 3 or 4 people don't like you.
Yeah.
And they're rock, paper, scissors to see who plays you each week.
They're not your friends.
They're not your friends.
I'm going to make myself larger, Liam, if you don't mind, on the podcast.
You do this every time.
I don't like our
a weird
proportions.
insecurity that I'm like twice as big as you.
I don't like
people think you're some sort of like midget or something? People think you've got a booster seat over there.
It's gone wrong.
We have to help pull up on the seat. Mate, what's going on? I can see on the phone.
It's gone wrong. Hang on.
Mate,
Sorry,
what are you doing? Mate, what are you doing?
I clicked the wrong button. I'm a bit too big. Now I look like
mate.
Oh, whatever, everybody. I'm paranoid about how tall people think I am, all right? And I just thought the proportions were looking a little bit out, okay? There we go. Right,
yeah, I think like Nick's made a good point. Like diversity in who you're playing, the armies you're playing.
Yeah.
I think having diversity within your own range is good as well. So, like, I mean, me and you are not exactly shining stars of this because we look at each other's shelves and both laugh. Yeah, I just look up there and just... But it is that, it's like I can see some Nids, I can see some Marines, I can see some Bretonians, I can see some Knights behind me, if there wasn't a green screen there.
Yeah,
there's all sorts. But that's different painting as well, isn't it? So when you start then getting onto the hobby side of it...
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing... Like, my Blood Angels were awful. Just going to paint some red. Oh, well, guess what I'm doing now? Painting more red. Oh, and I've got some more red to paint. Oh, I've got some more red to paint. Oh. So I was like, I need something else just to paint something that isn't red. Because you get onto the hobby side of it as well, don't you, with the burnout side?
Well, that's where this is where I think it's a bit... it's quite complicated, because I find that sometimes I get burnt out with, like, one bit of the hobby rather than the hobby. So it's rare for me to be like, this is all too much, and drop the whole thing. Often it's like a bit of the hobby that has felt like, oh, I'm getting really bored and burnt out with this. And that jumps from games sometimes. Like, for me, it's been nice. The thing that's burnt me out is that game I had the other week when I was a bit pissy. That's fine to say.
Every game that you have.
No, that's not fair, actually.
Can we do it the other way around? Which is the game where you didn't get?
Excuse me.
Why are you wagging your finger at me?
That's not fair. I don't think I'm that bad, am I? Oh, if anyone wants to ask that question, yes, I get that. Like,
no, but let's be fair.
People saying I'm small in real life. Who are these jokes? That's Tom Hampshire.
Mate, Tom Hampshire should not be throwing shade at anyone for their size.
I'm like 6 foot, I reckon.
I still reckon we need this like weird grudge match between Tom Hampshire and RLB to put them in a cage, mate. There was some like shade being thrown in the Discord the other week, wasn't there?
Let them at it.
Let them at it.
Let them at it. Fight to the death.
Next time we go to the club, instead of people setting tables up, set a ring of tables up.
Yeah. Well, I think we've got some fighters on the Discord.
We've got
Callum's a fighter. Tom's a fighter. I've done kung fu, which I mentioned a few times.
I can imagine you find a front kick.
People were laughing the other day when I said Sifu Tony from Wakefield taught me everything I know.
Who the hell's Sifu Tony?
Sifu. That's what they're called. Sifu. Sorry. That's the guy that like runs the club.
Sounds like a chip shop. I'm
being deadly serious. I was trained by a lad called Sifu Tony. Right? Sifu or whatever you say. And he was from Wakefield. And he'd come over and teach. Yeah. Yeah. And then Tom was saying to me the other day, tell me this, tell me the other. And I said, what Sifu Tony took me to the top of Morrison's car park.
Oh, don't tell me you waxed on, waxed off at the top of a Morrison's car park.
What's that?
You know, the Karate Kid where he's like doing the wax on, wax off.
I can't tell you what happened at the top of that car park, but it's knowledge that I can...
Now Tony's on a list and he's not allowed within 100 yards of a school. That's the problem.
Tony disappeared shortly after
Tony was no longer to be
the investigation from the local press. What was it about? Oh, yeah. The painting element can burn you out as well, right? Because the amount of times I've got so done with painting over and over again. So it's the painting you can get burnt out with, the game itself, standing at the table... The books, I found myself, I think I was on like, I don't know, I'd been reading Gaunt's Ghostbusters for like, it was in COVID, it was in lockdown. And I remember I just kept listening to the audiobook and reading Gaunt's Ghosts. And after about 6 months, I was like, I can't even think about them anymore. I have gone so deep into the Gaunt's Ghosts thing. I was dreaming about
I did it with Eisenhorn though, mate. I did all 3 Eisenhorn books on the audiobook.
Yeah, I did.
In like about a week and a half because I do so much driving.
Keep going to the wrong drink. What books they are.
What amazing. And then I was like, right, I started again.
Unbelievable.
I got halfway through the first one and I was like, I don't need any more Eisenhorn in my life, if I'm honest with you.
Do you remember that guy we find, Eisenhorny?
Eisenhorny.
Let's try game up.
Mate,
I actually think that Sir Eisenhorny was the guy that's how I got banned from Facebook.
Oh, you reckon he reported you?
Yeah. Yeah, because
the man himself.
Yeah, I think that's how I got banned because it was his image that I'd found of him dressed as an Inquisitor, and then I obviously used it in the show, and I think he reported me to Facebook and could prove that, like, you know, it wasn't his picture.
Do you know the only thing that I've never got burnt out within this hobby is the building?
Wait, I was going to guess then.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, building's great.
That's the reason I got back into it.
Love a good build.
I love the building. Like, I sit there and build all day. The painting, and then this is the other thing, is I do the thing, and I don't know if you do it, where I go all in and buy a massive amount of.
Oh, I've never done that.
Yeah. Go and do like 250, 300 quid in one sesh on a cheeky, like,
every week
in the Warp or wherever I get my stuff from. Other stores are available.
Don't be plugging shows on it. No,
and then,
they're all good guys.
And then literally end up building all of it and then being like, oh, I don't want to paint any of that. Yeah. Oh, it's too much stuff to paint now. Oh, I'm never going to look at that ever again.
Yeah. Sometimes I've bought, I think this is like a weird thing to admit. Sometimes I've bought models just knowing that like the putting together bit, I just want to have them and put them together.
Mate,
and then I put them together and then I'm like, I have no idea where I bought them. They're not even in any of my lists. I've just kind of bought them because my brain was like, oh, that'd be nice.
Mate, I did it one night. I was like, oh, I've got an evening off, nothing planned. I was like, could go to the cinema, could go for a few beers. I'll probably spend 30, 40 quid doing that. It's like, oh, screw it. I'll just go down Dice Saloon, buy a random model, and put it together.
Look at you plugging. Who's been giving you money, eh? You coming on here, dropping all these names.
Well, I've been removed from the Dice Saloon group, haven't I?
Oh, yeah, I forgot. So we've got Liam banned everybody from Dice Saloon. Forgot to mention.
I've been removed from the group for spamming.
Yeah, it's my fault, because I'm like, send the show round. And he's like, all right. And like, I do it every week.
Every week. I'm like,
You've been contacted,
I've been burnt out from sending the group round.
You've burnt them out. They're like, who are these two idiots?
Christ.
Nicholas, welcome to Epic Flail Crew. Although it says message retracted, so I don't know what message was provided.
Might have been a response to something to do.
You joined, my friend, but we appreciate you joining. I think you're rejoining, actually, if anything. Good to see you.
I saw BJJ then in the chat.
No, don't.
And then I thought it was BBJ. No, BJJ is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
I know what it is. I'm trained in Kung Fu. I have to be aware of my enemies.
Trained in Kung Fu?
I am. I'm not joking.
Mate, the fact you got abused at the top of Morrison's car park does not make you trained in Kung Fu.
I didn't get abused. It was just the knowledge he passed on.
I bet he passed so in.
He said, I've got to pass knowledge on, but we've got to get as high as possible. And I said, well, it's Morrison's.
I've got a cheeky bag in the car, mate. That's the best way to get as high as possible. So basically, what you're saying is...
Just to circle back.
So what you're saying is, you sat in a Morrison's car park with an older gentleman... What? Like,
no, we stood on the edge of the car park, looked out.
While getting, like...
No, while he passed the knowledge on. That's
like
what they have to do. They don't.
Was it like a scene in Titanic? Was Seafood Tony holding you from behind while you were doing the Titanic thing?
I can't talk about the details. But that's no. But if you get into one of these if you're selected to join one of these sects, whatever they're called,
mate, this is a cult. You realise that Tony was a cult leader?
Anyway, it was a privilege. They don't just pass the information on; they take you somewhere special. And
Morrison's car park is not somewhere special.
He said we got to get as high as we can, and that was all. That was the nearest thing. Right, I'll find the belt. I've got the belt around somewhere. So the ways you can get burnt out. Someone's saying, who was that in chat about it being summer? That's an interesting way to burn yourself out. Everyone gets burnt out in the hobby in the summer. You don't want to be sitting inside painting. I think it is easier to like really throw yourself at 40k when it's winter because you don't feel bad. But then I don't know, it gets a bit sweaty, doesn't it? I'm happy being an insider. An inside man.
I think the thing is that it's not really... Let's be fair. There's no real way, shape, or form this is an outdoor activity, is it? Like you might be able to.
You can't play this outdoors. You'll be killed. You can't play what? Imagine playing Warhammer outdoors.
Just roll up to the park with a couple of pasting tables and a bag of terrain.
You get killed. Local kids would be like, they're twice our age, but let's bully them.
Bully those people over there.
Normally, like children
bullying.
Yeah. Normally, children don't bully adults because they're like they're gonna kick the. But they saw like two people at the table.
Just stood in Worthing Park.
Imagine me and you going down to Worthing Park with a table, being like, "Let's set up here." Be like,
"What are those two up to over there?"
It wouldn't be safe. Telly says he's Paul confused. Who's Seafood Tony? Was he the head of the fish cult?
Mate, I think Telly, because obviously Telly knows you from back home, yeah?
He knows I've done Kung Fu. Me and him used to Kung Fu. We used to spar in the back garden.
Was Tony involved in that sparring as well?
No, that was early days. That was before I was picked up before I was scouted.
Scouted,
I meant scouted.
Talent recognised up to a Morrison's car park.
It's before I was scouted out.
Mate, this sounds well Manson-y.
I'm going to find a picture of something. I'm trying to think if I've got any evidence of me being in Kung Fu.
I would need more evidence of you in this car park, if I'm honest with you.
You're thinking something that's gone on there when it hasn't.
It definitely has.
You realise that, like, a lot of the culture behind martial arts is, it's serious. It's not like a laughing matter. They don't just like. It's not like boxing where you go, oh, we've gone so off topic. Where you go, oh, do you want to get better at box? Right, you go to the boxing gym, right? Say you're at the boxing gym, and you go to them. I want to get better. They'll say, yeah, watch these YouTube videos and show how to uppercut. Yeah, they just give you materials to get better. Go watch this. Go watch the other. Watch him. Oh, go watch Tyson. You go to a serious kung fu school and say, how do I get better? They say, in time, walk the path. They don't just give you the information. You have to go through a process.
There's just a leaflet you can have.
No leaflets. No, it's all word of mouth.
Why is there no leaflets?
They don't want other people reading it that aren't invited. It's all word of mouth.
Sounds a bit.
And if they want to give you something serious, like, right, this is really important, they'll take you somewhere high up.
Okay.
It's just part of it, right?
I'm just going to let you get back to the notes.
It's just what it's like. Sorry. So the bad armies, wrong type of games. The other one I thought was not diverse enough engagement or get you burnt out. So not doing enough of the hobby, just zoning in on one bit and not mixing it up a bit and giving yourself a little bit of a break.
Massively on
Don't
one
lock
thing.
in. Yeah. Don't lock yourself in. And I mean that for games as well. So I've seen people get burnt out when, particularly competitive players, when they're just playing the same list over and over.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a good list, and it's a really good list, and they're winning games, and they're getting better. But it's just the just constant repetition. Well, the league is at risk of doing this to people. Do you know what I mean? That's the risk with the league. That's why you finish your games, play something else, mix it up.
Well, I was listening to one of the podcasts the other day, and they had one of the top players.
Who are you plugging now?
No one. That's why I'm not saying any names. And I think he was talking about he's talking about a list he's just gone 5-0 with at some GT, and they were like, oh, cool. It's like, how many reps have you put in with that list? He's like, 75. You're like, you've played 75 games with the same list.
That's a lot.
He's like, yeah, I really like it. And you're like, you're a different kind of animal than everyone else, mate. Because
so it's a lot.
That's a lot of games.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's a video of you doing kung fu in the
Who's saying this?
In the Discord. There's a doll coming out just to show us, just so you can show us where the sensei touched you.
What, on the meme chat?
Yeah,
leak footage of Paul's kung fu training. Right, we'll be watching that in the members show. I'm not clicking that right now. I don't know what.
Sounds seriously culty. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
There we go. Nicholas has done. He must be a kung fuer.
It's all word of mouth.
Right, okay. We can't read that comment out, can we, Brandon? But we appreciate your contribution.
I like the fact that no one's commenting on the burnout and everyone's commenting on you and Seafood Tony.
It's SIFU.
FU as well, mate. Don't get rude with me just because we're sat here.
Do you know what? I'm actually going to find the kung fu. I'm going to type in Google Seafood Tony and I'm going to find it.
Imagine if it's some news article about
Right, Seafood Tony, here he is. Riding Wing Chun, martial arts school.
This has gone so off topic.
No, I'm going to move it on while I find
This is when the ADHD hits, isn't it? This is the problem.
Here we go. West Riding's Kung Fu. I found him. I'm not even joking. I found him. I found him as his thing here. I'm going to get it up. Right. I'm going to get it up, but I'll do it as I sort of introduce the next thing. So that's what I was talking about, the how. How do you get burnt out? We've good cover on that. There's different types of burnout, isn't there? There's burnout where you're kind of like, that's it, I absolutely don't want to play this anymore and tap out. Another burnout's where you just become a bit of a...
Mate, I've definitely done that one.
I've noticed myself being like, I'm actually just becoming not great.
I'm just a horrible person to be just being an absolute bombhead and being like, I'm halfway through a game and be like, I don't care anymore. Like, I genuinely don't care anymore.
That was a good idea. I just shared my entire WhatsApps on the thing. That's
Ooh!
Don't worry.
And you get to that point, don't you, where you're like, do you burn out as in you just go, I never want to look at 40k for like a week? Or do you like, I'm going to keep persisting with this, and then you just become that person that's like, oh, fuck, not him again. Like, I don't want to play
Have you ever been that person? I
massively have been that person. I'm just like,
I mean, I love you to bits, but you can shoot from the hip at the table.
Oh yeah,
as can I. Yeah, as can I. But you were talking.
Who was I talking to? What did I do to someone?
No, we were just talking about the tournament at the weekend. Like, you can basically, and we're the similar, so this isn't like, I'm not like casting shade on you, whatever, because I do the same thing. But let's say, and Telly knows this from that time when we were playing that tournament, I said, I can't deal with these. The barrier between us having enough, I've been like, I've had enough of this, and like taking action is not very, it's quite narrow for us.
It
what I mean?
doesn't exist.
Yeah. So a lot of people would like, I'm a bit burnt out, this game's really frustrating me. Go home, think about it, reflect, realise, maybe I'll have a week off.
Oh, no.
Me and you, it takes 5 seconds for us to be like, well, this is stupid. Or this, do you know what I mean?
Mate, I did that within 5 minutes of the tournament starting at the weekend. I went, this is pointless. I don't want to play this game anymore.
Yeah.
I don't want to play this game anymore. This is an absolute waste of time. I was like, that's ridiculous. Your model's ridiculous. The rules are stupid.
Game's broken.
Game's broken. 40k's rubbish. Let's go and play something else. And I was like, this is Funhammer. Why am I being a douche? Like, what does it matter? I was like,
Here we go.
Start sorting myself. Now what are you doing?
We've both done that. Oh, hang on, I've got it so you can't see you now. This is just really quick because there's a lot of, I have to defend myself. For some reason it's making, look a bit weird. Look, here we go. Seafood Tony, he's here. Everyone think I was joking. This is him. Martial arts school, Seafood Tony. It says there, Tony, look. Riding's Wing Chun, that was him. And he's here. There, that's him. Tony.
Mate.
Do you believe me now?
No.
Look at all these really amazing messages.
One-to-one private lessons, obviously offered by Tony.
Yeah, of social distancing. He's still in.
I bet there was no distancing
his
going
second,
on.
That was last week. He's taking COVID really seriously still.
Mate,
Do you believe me now?
I believe if we were living in a world where the internet existed when Charles Manson was about, that would have looked a lot like his website, mate, if I'm honest with you.
So, more like Swiss Tony.
More like Swiss Tony. I think that having, and this gets back onto the thing where we did the show on a couple of weeks ago, like the price of Warhammer as well. A lot of people are like, have a couple of armies, and yeah, that's great saying that, but the actual ability to have, like, let's be fair, me and you are in a very lucky position that we can have 2 or 3 armies and it doesn't affect us massively in
just
that
mentally
way. Yeah. Whereas other people are like, I know some people that have played the same army for years and will buy like 1 box of miniatures every 3 months. You're like, it's not that easy for some people to just go, I'm going to have 2 armies. When I get bored of that one, I'm going to switch to that one.
I would find that so, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I respect people that have that commitment, but I just don't have the brain. I don't have the brain for that. And I think the biggest challenge I've had is when I feel this burnout feeling. So when I'm like, when I get that feeling, you know what I mean? When I get the
Seafood Tony gets a certain feeling.
Tom just said Seafood Tony doesn't look like he can chop a carrot, let alone a piece of wood. He can chop wood, all right.
We did something with wood. Hey, let's go, Tony. Mate, you and Tony. There's going to be some memes in that meme page of you and Tony.
He's annoyed at me, actually. He fell out on me because I left. I only got my first belt and then left.
What? So you were London. Like a yellow belt? So he
but I think he might
all your secrets to get you a yellow belt.
No, I think he jumped me forward a bunch. Do you know what I mean? Fast tracked, sort of graduate scheme.
What did you have to do to get fast tracked, Paul?
Climb up top of Morris's car park and not tell anyone.
Not tell anyone what happened ever. It's all coming out.
Not talk about it. Definitely not show his picture online.
Definitely not.
Just realised what I've done as well. Like,
to a group.
I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure no one will email him. I buy the thing. Looking back, right? This bit of thinking about this subject early today when we like to talk about it, or when Telly gave us the ad to talk about it. So shout out to Telly. I realised that when I get the burnt out feeling, I buy more things. It is the thing I put in the thumbnail and what we said at the beginning about how does it happen. Weirdly, my escape from burnout is like, I'll paint some of them. So you see how there's like some Tyranids being painted on there?
Yeah.
I'm not answering that question. That was because I was like just burnt out from night. So I was like, well, I'll paint some Tyranids.
Yeah.
Because that'll like make me feel like I can get, I'll go play this other army. And I painted them and then was like, why am I painting Tyranids? These are absolutely rubbish. Like, they're just going to perpetuate the problem.
So this is exact. So I was driving today and I was like, well, I've just finished painting my 2,000 points of orcs. I've still got a whole other shelf of orcs that need painting. I'm like, but I'm a bit bored of painting them. And everything else is painted. So I'm like, oh, what else could I get that I could then just like, I'll do a different colour scheme. And I won't dive into it. I'll just buy a box of tank.
Just a box.
Just a box. Just a box.
Yeah, I won't go in with 2 feet.
And then I need another box because, you know, what's the point of one box?
I always get 2. And you're in the shop.
I ain't no wimp, am I? I'm buying like more than one box, aren't I? I've got a £10 gift voucher, so I'm going to spend 80 quid, aren't I? Because obviously,
and then I get a coin.
And then I get the coin, so I might as well buy something else. And the wife dwarf, and I need some new contrast paints. And all of a sudden, I'm £250 into a new army that I didn't even want because I just didn't want to paint any more orcs.
Do you know what's funny about our shopping habits at Games Workshop? Is me and you will go in and buy more than we would like ever get in a single Christmas, like in a day, impulsively, randomly. Do you know what I mean? It's like Christmas comes.
Do you not remember my AdMech purchase? My AdMech purchase.
Never seen you play this army, I don't think.
My AdMech purchase went from me and Adam talking about how cool like one unit in the AdMech army was to like messaging him the next day being like, mate, I've just spent 450 quid on AdMech. He's like, why? I was like, I don't know. Like, but I just made a list. I like the list, so I've just bought it all. Yeah, and he's like, mate, you're ridiculous. I was
it was all those chickens you got. The chickens.
I didn't get any chickens. That was the best bit. I never bought the chickens. I had the breachers.
Oh, constantly play the army. You shot me with it on stream.
And then do you know what the best bit about that whole thing was that I did? I went into like the most ridiculous amount of detail, working out like if I bought the Christmas box, then I bought a boarding patrol. Then I bought like a box of that, and then found a unit of that on eBay. Then it only cost me 60 quid because I only had to buy 2 separate boxes. The fact that I spent 300 quid on the other stuff was just ignored because I'd come up with my own like sense of how I could justify that because I bought a Christmas box.
Do you do that in response to being burnt out, or do you just do that compulsively? Because that Custodes army, I was a burnt out purchase.
Mate,
I was like, I'm sick of these.
Army was
I just bought an entire Custodes army. Because I was like, oh, super
I think
nice.
it's a different. I think like there's parts of it where it's like it's a burnout because I'm like, I've painted and I've played what I've got at the moment. So the part of the hobby that I really enjoy is building it. So if I've got nothing to build, I'm like, well, I want to build something. So let's go. And then you always look at the models that are cool to build, don't you? Like, so you're not going to go and buy a single character, are you? Because you're like, well, I've built that in 10 minutes. What's the point? So what do you look at? Oh, well, kind of like a Bloodthirster. The Bloodthirsters look quite cool to build. Or Keeper a Secret. Someone's got a booby, so...
Someone's got a booby, just one.
It's only got one. You know,
the single boob build.
Oh, a Baneblade's pretty cool to build, isn't it? Oh, I'm 120 quid into something already.
We need a soundboard that's, it's a trap.
It's a trap.
Oh, my nose is running out, snotty. There was a good comment from Tom Green that says, why is he called Tony? Doesn't he have any shins? Very good. Very good. Adam L, welcome, my friend. Says buying a new model is more dopamine than actually painting it. Yeah, man, it's a nice little rush in it when you do a Christmas shop.
And like me and you have discussed this off between the two of us about other stuff that goes on in our brains and that dopamine hit that we need as well, isn't it?
It's a real nice little rush, isn't it?
Oh, mate, it's a little buzzing rush, isn't it?
Oh, it's a real nice
But
piece.
then do you know what the best bit is? If you order it offline as well, you get the buzz when you hit the buy button and you get the buzz when it turns up at the door as well.
You've got more patience than I have. I sort of hate buying online.
I hate it.
I get it online, I'm like, when's that coming?
Yeah, but the problem is there's no real, like, there's one decent shop towards Portsmouth way that does it at a reasonable price.
Go on, you say the name if you want.
The Warp.
There you go.
But the rest of them in this area, it's all like Games Workshop, and I refuse to go in a Games Workshop store. I went in the Brighton. Did I tell you I went in the Brighton one the other week? And there was like this Games Workshop employee that was basically like forcing this kid to buy all the wrong stuff. And like the mum, you could see the mum standing there being like, crying, looking at how much all this stuff, and this kid's loving it because it's just boxes, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
And this kid's got like a starter set, like a this, a that, a load of paints, and I'm like, do you know when you feel like going up to him and being like, mate, not in a noncy way, but just gonna say to you, that's all the wrong stuff.
You've not got his hand on your hand on his shoulder or anything.
I'm not Seafood Tony in him.
Don't listen. Don't say that. I've got him. I could get sued.
I'm just being like, mate, that's all the wrong stuff. Put it all back. You go away.
What you want is AdMech. They're over here.
No, yeah, you go away. What are you actually looking for, mate? Because I'll sort you out.
Pokemon.
Like Pokemon cards. I know a man.
You're like, listen, get out of the shop. What are you doing?
I think it's like such a... I don't know. What do you think? Like, what's your dopamine hit with the buying it?
It's going in and getting it in person and then cracking it and putting the models together.
But
we've gone off topic and gone into our dopamine addictions. But the path we've got here has been my very, 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 very problematic solution to burnout is to buy more things.
Buy more stuff.
I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think I should do that. I think I should sit and just reevaluate and not go off and just purchase loads of stuff.
Just build what you've got, no?
Yeah. Well, there's stuff still on the shelf. Look.
Mate, how much Deepkin have you got in this cupboard over here?
Loads of Deepkin in that. I'm not playing AOS again ever.
Mate, how bad was that as a game as well?
Oh, let's roll a dice to see who goes first. Well, you've just gone last time.
Yeah, I've just been double turned and I've lost.
It's awful. It's awful. Ginger Ninja, good lad. We love that name. More people are burnt out of 40k, especially due to the fact most armies are still need their codex. So at present, everyone's playing the same list. That's a good point. It is a bit burnout heavy, isn't it, at the moment, if you play the same
I think like certain armies are definitely in the realm of getting that way. Like I think some indexes are quite varied. Like I think the Eldar one, now that it's...
Marine one, because they're the best faction to play.
Well, they've got a codex, so that's not an index.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to get that in.
Such a bad example.
They're great. It's literally funny.
Mate, there's two. They've got the biggest model range. They've got the biggest amount of detachments, and there's two lists that people are running.
Don't you come on this channel and start talking about the Marine.
Don't start talking sense. Don't start talking sense on this channel.
Don't you come on this channel and start saying things like that.
But I think there's other indexes where you've got like...
Imperial Knights.
You've
got two.
Chaos Knights.
Two models.
Yeah, I mean, I'm picking the worst ones there because they are...
Grey Knights haven't got loads.
Grey Knights have got more play now that the data slate happened than the Dread Knights are.
Oh, yeah, without the Dread Knights
again.
It was a bit
Before the data slate, it was pretty one-dimensional. I know that Guard suffered a little bit with that because they had that big indirect... They had that whole indirect vibe, yeah, where that was going on for a while.
Not anymore. They got a nice little rounded list now.
Yeah, mate, Guards are good. But then you look at Guard and it's got a massive range again, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's big range.
So the indexes with the big ranges are fine. It's when you get... Like Votan, I don't even know what the crack is with Votan, but they've got quite a small range and an index, and I don't see a lot of people playing them.
No.
I think the same with T-Suns. There's a list that people play, and that's the list. Like, there's not a lot of variation within that.
So I think that's a good point. That kind of touches on what we've said in it around the playing experience can frustrate you and get you burnt out. What on earth do we do about it, Liam? How do we stop 40? And it's safe to say, I think we do a decent job because me and you do a lot of 40k.
Yeah,
we're doing multiple streams a week. I'm doing games at the club. I'm like, there's a lot of 40k going on.
I think it's just understanding when you're getting to that tipping point before it gets to that point and going, right, like I've got better at it recently because I'm like, right, I know that if I do too much, I'm just going to get... So that's why I've curbed back on the competitive. Like
I've noticed that. I've noticed you've been more assertive about what you do, like not going to the club every single week and feeling pressured and like not going to every single event you can go to.
Yeah. So I've got much better at that, and I've booked in like the next lot of events that I'm doing. I think I've got a doubles one coming up. We've got a team one coming up at some point. Like I've booked a few in. I'm like, they're the ones I'm doing, and I'll play the odd game here or there, either at the club in the league or get one of the boys round and we'll play. But I'm not doing this Monday night here, Tuesday night at the club, Wednesday night someone round, Thursday night stream.
Every night.
Yeah, I did a week where I did like every night, and then I was just like, yeah, it's fun because but then you're ball bagged for work as well the next morning, aren't you?
Excuse me?
Ball bagged.
Ball bagged.
Yeah, tired.
I'm not getting into the Cockney rhyming slam.
That's not even Cockney rhyming slam, it's just in that thing, isn't it?
Oh, right.
Just ball bagged.
What's Cockney rhyming slam for tired or whatever?
I don't know. I'm not Cockney. Just
I know you're
because I'm
not
from
Cockney, but you've
south
got
of the Watford Gap.
Tom Green's a Cockney, he'll tell us.
Yeah, Tom, what's the old...
He's Charlton boy. Nicholas Hall says Seafood Tony has lone operative.
He had stealth as well. Do you reckon he has fights first? Right, can we please, in the Discord, can someone make a data card for Seafood Tony?
Don't do that.
Wounds,
I've put
attack, what's he hitting on?
I think I've put his bloody mobile number in.
What's he hitting on?
I think his
is Seafood Tony hitting on twos re-rolling? He's definitely got twin linked as well. What's his weapon called? What are the fists? The fists of Tony.
It's got to be like something in Wakefield.
What's his ability? Morrison's car park. What does that ability grant you?
I can't talk about it. I can't literally.
I can't talk about it.
I can't, Liam. It's this live show. I don't want to put any of us at risk.
Any of us at risk?
I can't do it. He's like Liam.
Like Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
What? He will find you.
He'll find us both.
He won't find me, mate.
You can't laugh about this sort of thing. It's cultural to
mate,
them.
He won't find me. Multiple names on multiple platforms, mate.
Find you like you wouldn't believe.
I laugh if we go outside. He just stood across the road.
Yeah.
So I've driven from Wakey.
He just comes up on the Discord.
Being Seafood Tony.
Latest member, I'll be like, shh, he's in. Is that?
I like the fact everyone just started calling him Seafood Tony as well.
Telly says, can Seafood Tony clear the Watford gap in a single jump?
Yeah, I think Rob's made a point. Like, Votan have 4 units. I played one RTT in teams and was bored of them. I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's like certain armies at the moment don't have enough variation to play to a point where you're like, it's worth investing in that army. Like, I like Votan. Like, I've grown to like the range. But I'm like, well, I don't need 2,000 points of 4 units. Like, it's just dull.
Yeah. I think it's one of the challenges of 40k is the list sometimes in the game that shan't be named that we were talking about. There are other games where you can quickly change the whole feel of an army without a huge investment in something else. You're like, well, if I just change this model, it'll change the interaction of all these things.
But this was what we got onto earlier, wasn't it? We were talking about, like, it's good to have something else. So whether it's Age of Sigmar, whether it's Kill Team, if you want to stay within the Games Workshop family, if you don't want to stay within the Game Workshop family but still do miniatures, Malifaux, War Machine.
You said it, not me.
I said it, not you. You know, is there another game that you can go, right, well, I still want to do tabletop miniatures because that's what I enjoy doing, but let's do a completely different game that's got a completely different rule set that I'm also probably playing different people because it might not be the same people that are playing the same game. So I have a different interaction. Or do you go full left field and go, I'm doing card games now. I'm going to go and play some Magic, or I'm going to go and play some Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh, or be a weirdo and play that Disney one. What's the Disney one now?
If you're a fully grown adult and you play that Disney game, mate, I'm getting the police on you.
Yeah, mate, that's a bit weird, isn't it? Standing outside of school trying to do swapsies.
Honestly, if you're a fully grown adult, you're playing that game.
Why is it like it's become like quite a big thing now? Isn't it?
Right, Luke's just put it. So I'm sorry, Luke, if you're playing it.
Lorcana, yeah. Mate, you've just probably called someone out in that chat. Who's playing Lorcana in the chat?
No, don't ask that question to the chat.
Mate. Yeah, dipping into Lord of the Rings game. Yeah, like I think that's what... And this is literally what we were talking about before we came on, wasn't it? It's like, you were like, you know, we might end up doing a little, 50 points of War Machine each and just something different to play if you're like, I don't actually want to play the Old World, or I don't want to commit 3 hours to a game of Warhammer at this moment in time. I want to put 2 hours on the clock and sit there and not have any of these weird rules interactions, not have any of this other contentious stuff, which is probably what what's the word I'm looking for? Contributes to the burnout as well sometimes, because you're like, can't be bothered to argue about line of sight and points on models and some idiot pushing the part of his plane down and some judge making an awful call and some weirdo being a Robocop with a laser pen in the corner and someone else just throwing models across the table to move them and stuff like that. Like, let's do something different.
It's hard. Look, Terranod just made a good point. If your friend group all plays 40k, just stick with 40k and get another army. The initial investment is high, but once you have the 2 armies, it's pretty cheap. I think that's a really good point, because the bit that would be stressful about that is you just like starting again. Do you know what I mean? Like especially in Brighton. Think about the Brighton group we have here. I think it's such a good group that it's worth managing your burnout, because it's such a good set of people. And it would be such a shame for someone to burn themselves out in our group to the point by which they don't like the game and then step out of it, rather than just recognising when that kettle's boiling and just turning the heat down. Do you know what? Maybe I do need to give this week a miss. There's a bit of me that wants to go, but maybe I just need to just foot off the gas for a week.
And I think there's two things. I think the group that we've got, and I think like you make a great point about second army, but if you've got some really close mates in this hobby, like close mates, going, oh, Paul, do you mind if I borrow your knights? And I'll lend you my orcs for a month, and, you know, just put those on the table. Like Rob's been kind enough to lend you the World Eaters. I know
Legend.
other boys have, Matt's lent, Adam is Chaos Knights. Like, if you've got mates that you're that close with and you're comfortable doing it, that's a great idea, just to dip your toe. And what was the other point you were saying about? I can't remember. I was trying to say something else.
About groups walking away from a group. Like, you don't want to lose your sort of friendship groups.
And I think another thing that is quite good sometimes, and I especially find this very hard, is the amount of WhatsApp groups and all of that stuff that everyone's in.
You really don't like all the WhatsApp. You Mate, often find those very stressful.
Does not, like, literally just pings constantly because I've actually got stuff I want to interact with at some point. So, like, trying to interact with all those groups, that's one of the biggest things I find overwhelming, is the fact that you can, like, open your phone and you'll have, like, I've opened my phone after, like, an hour before and have, like, 130 messages over, like, 2 groups, and you're like, well, how am I keeping up with that? That's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Oh, he almost lost them. Seafood Tony didn't teach you that, did he?
Well, how to operate a table.
How to operate a table.
I'm gonna. We've got 3 minutes left, and someone in the Discord, I think it was Tom Hampshire, said about are we going to look at, if we don't look at the stats, we call ourselves Meta Monday. So there's the stats.
I love the fact before we went, you were like, mate, we're going to have a little dive into Meta Monday this week.
Well, I thought we'd have more time.
Mate, I think the thing to say about the meta at the moment is it is all over the place.
It's an absolute mess. It's chaos.
Well, it's not a mess. It's the complete opposite of a mess.
Boing, boing, boing. It's super bouncy.
Yeah, I think it's a complete opposite of a mess. I think it's in a really good place.
World Eaters 41% win rate just as I start playing them. That's interesting, isn't it?
Seems to say more about you than the armies, if I'm honest with you.
Excuse me? What's that mean to me?
So what does Paul do? Paul just picks the shittest army and then blames it on them, does he?
What Paul's trying to do is burn himself out on the hobby. So he keeps playing.
Is burn himself out and keep worthing GW in business.
I'm like one of those people that's like really bad at the stock market. I'm like, oh, they're going to pop this one. This is the one.
Never invest in Apple. Yeah. Never Apple. It's a flash in the pan. Yeah. Jobs doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah. Sorry, everyone. I've just lost all that money.
It's like Bezos. He's only ever going to sell books out of his garage. That fella. Don't even bother with Amazon. Bitcoin's a joke as well.
That's me, but factions. Good news, though. AdMecha 28% win rate. That's good.
28?
28% win rate. NIDS 38%.
I think it's starting to get the... I think that people have got to the point where they've got the codexes, they've tried everything that they were going to try, realised it doesn't work, and are like, actually, let's go and play something else. Yeah. And the people that are playing those factions are your die-hard faction specialists...
Yeah.
That are like, I only ever play AdMech. I'm playing AdMech. Whatever happens, I'm playing AdMech. Yeah. I'm going to go 1 and 4 at every event, but I play AdMech and I make weird beepy boopy noises as I walk around, and I've got far too much money.
Yeah, people that have played AdMech for a long time, I feel for them. That's
and they're in a serious relationship with a toaster. Am I allowed to say that? Probably not.
Yeah, it's too late now, mate.
It's too late. It's on the internet.
It's been said. Adam says spoiler warning on Jobs. Yeah, sorry everybody. He died. Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs, dead or alive?
Dead.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. Don't keep up to date with current affairs. Boring, isn't it?
Imagine if it was your job to keep up with current affairs. I think you'd be quite good at it.
I'd probably know what's going on, wouldn't I?
Yeah. You've got your finger on the pulse, whatever it is. Finger on something.
Someone
says, isn't Marvel Rivals a Disney game? Pretty sure there is some Marvel content on this channel if you go far. Right. On that note, ladies and gentlemen.
Tom Hampshire's done ya.
On that note, we won't have any of that back chat. We're going to be doing a members show now. Me and Liam are jumping over. We've got some Harambe content to share. I've got some things I found on Reddit that I want to put to Liam and explore with the chat. Some rather bizarre Reddit stuff that I found.
And the Berlin Wall fell as well.
Yeah, so everyone, we like to keep everybody up to date on this channel with what's going on in the world. So we're going to jump over and do a members stream, my friend. We're obviously a bunch of daft lads having a daft chat, but if you're ever getting burnt out on 40k, feel free to jump on our Discord and talk about it. because we don't want people getting burnt out and disappearing
Right.
from the game. It's all good fun, and it's a good fun community. So,
well, and yeah,
Don't
we're
get
going to
burnt out.
try. I think we've discussed trying a game that shan't be mentioned, possibly.
don't say that on here. They're all going to be going absolutely mad. Don't say that.
We'll
Jesse,
lose all our members.
Don't mention the game that can't be named. For God's sake. Jesse says, please can we get a link to the Discord? You can join our Discord, my friend, by becoming a member of the channel. And the link to do so is in the description. And then it gets you on the Discord. Nicholas Hall rubs hands vigorously in anticipation for the After Dark. Let's get ourselves over there, my friend. Hope to see you there, boys.
See you in a sec.
We will pump out some tunes to see us off and see you over on the member show. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it all loads.